Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 23rd of September 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. It's always a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so I hope you're all feeling nice and relaxed after the weekend. So I hope you all had a wonderful time. Also, before jumping into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel here, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, but specifically our JFD research page, which you can always check out on a daily basis. And you can also here subscribe to our strategic report, which comes out every Monday. So it's currently getting prepared. Yep, like I said, feel free, guys, to visit our website, and I believe you can find a lot of useful stuff. But for now, let's jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE 100. Now, this is going to be quite an interesting one. Could be quite an interesting one today, given the news that we have the oldest travel agency collapsing in UK. So it will be interesting to see if actually this makes a move here, could force to make a move on FTSE 100. So for now, the technical picture is like this: that we're currently stuck here in this little kind of range here, roughly between the 7,284 zone on the downside and the 7,380 on the upside. So we need to see a clear breakthrough one of these levels before we could get excited about any further directional moves. Of course, on one hand, there is more positivity on this one, because as you can see, the index is still kind of trading above the 200 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. Looking at the cash index, it seems that it's kind of now moving a little bit higher, not much, but it is currently above its closing price here on Friday. So what we could see here happening, like I said, we could see this this break here through the upper side. But again, let's probably not over speculate too much on this one. Again, let's see how this day is going to evolve. Maybe the negative news around Thomas Cook will kind of have its impact here on the FTSE 100. But again, maybe it's just going to be a drop in the ocean, and not much, could happen. So that's why, guys, for now, from the technical side, we're just going to keep an eye on some of these potential breakout points, and only then kind of react to this index. So for now, like I said, if we see a push above the 7,380, initially we will target this key area of resistance, which previously acted as a good area of support, and that's around the 7,476-77 zone, approximately around there. And in terms of the downside, well, this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the bears if the price falls below the 7,284 zone. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. Jumping into a few other instruments, gold, for example. Gold is quite interesting because it managed to push to the upside here, managed to rebound from its upside line. Don't get me wrong, we did have a break of this upside line initially, but the commodity quickly kind of retraced and quickly kind of pushed back above the above this upside line. Of course, it traveled a little bit higher, but then kind of slid back down again. And this is where, as you can see, it kind of got held here by this upside line again. So that's why we're still keeping a close eye on this line. It's still kind of here moving nicely alongside of it. And but the more important thing is that what I was talking about last week when I was covering gold, what I was saying that we need to see a nice good push above the 15-12 zone initially, and if we do get that move here, we could see a further acceleration here, price acceleration to the upside. And we could then target initially the 1525 zone or even the 1534. But of course, if these obstacles are seen as just temporary kind of temporary obstacles on the way higher, then yep, even higher levels could be met. But for now, what we're going to do here is we're going to play this game right here. So yes, we are seeing a bit of a correction here to the downside. If it continues to trade above the 1512, then or even actually the same upside line, if it continues to trade above that, then yep, we will continue aiming to the upside. In terms of the downside, of course, this level here, the 1484, is the more important one to watch in order to consider further declines in the near term. From the very short term perspective, I mean, if this upside line breaks and you see a drop, if you see a drop below this little area here, near the 1498 zone, approximately around there, then this is, in a way, you could consider looking at the lower levels, because this would also place the price below its 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart. The only thing is, like I said, we could get something like we had here on Wednesday here, and also look, this false kind of breakout to the downside, but then you saw the commodity quickly got back above this 200 EMA. So that's why, guys, this level here for us becomes more important one, because if this, let's say, travels below the upside line, below the 1498 and below the 200 EMA, yes, there is a very good chance for this one to drift lower. But again, this is going to be the level that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. So keep your eyes on this one. GBPNZD. Very quick mentioning of this pair. Last week on Friday, I talked about this one, and in my morning video, in my Traders Tea Time, and basically we managed to hit our psychological 2 level, from which the pair retraced and pushed to the downside. But what I was also saying that in order for us to consider further declines, for example, ideally we would like to see a drop. A drop below the 1.9894 zone, or sorry, I do apologize, and 1.9790, or in a way you can actually round it up towards the 1.90 8 areas. So yes, so guys, apologies for the confusion a little bit. Let me just zoom in here a little bit. So probably wait for a drop below the 1.98 zone, and this way the pair would confirm, or actually wouldn't confirm, but it would confirm a break here below the 21 EMA. So this could be one of the kind of short-term potential moves lower, but we will aim for slightly lower areas here again, like the 96.78, 79 zone, or the 1.9623 area. But then again, like I said, with the downside, be very careful, because in a way, yes, we could see this one drifting a little bit lower. Maybe it'll get held here near the 21 EMA and then have a nice rebound and another attempt to push above the psychological 2 level. So in a way, if we put an arrow here on this one, then something like this could be possible still. So that's why we have the potential breakout point to the downside, and the level from which we will consider, let's say, slightly lower areas is going to be this 1.98 zone. So a drop below the 1.98 could in a way do the trick here for the bears, and we could see further declines. Euro USD, Euro USD. Last Friday, on Friday, I talked about this one as well, and on in my traders tea time, I was telling you guys about this level here, the 1.1024. We were already breaking it, and when I was saying that we may see a further decline here, especially if we start moving below the 1.1012 area, and then yep, we could potentially target like the territory around the 1.0990 or even the 1.0983. We fell shy of just a few pips from hitting those levels, and as you can see that the pair retraced back to the upside, but it's still struggling to get back normally get back above its 1.1024 zone. So again, at this level here, even though it was violated a few times, it still kind of is like a magnet or some sort. So for now, basically, what we could do here is now we'll be very careful and very cautious, because in order for us to consider, let's say, declines in the near term, ideally, we would like to see a drop now below the 1.0983 zone, something like that, and only then target the downside. Because at this point here, it's a little tricky, and it could go either way. Let's say if it travels back above the 1.1024, then in a way, again, it increases its chances to travel back towards this downside line. But again, like I said, it's a very tricky one for now. That's why in this territory, we're going to remain neutral. For us to get excited about the upside, initially we'll wait for a clear break of this downside line and a push above the 1.1075 zone, and this way the rate could travel above its 200 EMA. But in order to get really comfortable with higher levels, this is the break that we need, the 1.1110, and only then, like I said, we will consider much higher areas. So for now, keep your eyes on these two levels, and let's see how this is going to play out. But again, like I said, for now in this territory, we are somewhat neutral, and we're just keeping this one aside and just keeping a close eye on it. Euro Aussie, quite an interesting pair. So for now, it seems quite, let's say, from the very short term perspective, it seems a bit bullish, I would say. But the only thing is that we cannot really do much until it's kind of trading, as long as it continues to trade here inside this little range where it is right now. So and this is roughly approximately between the 1.6221 on the downside and the 1.63 on the upside. So in a way, wait for a clear breakthrough one of these levels, and only then kind of consider a further directional move. Because again, of course, on one hand, we are above all of its all of the EMAs here, especially the 200 EMA. But again, we cannot really talk about the upside yet, because we need to see that clear break here. And if we do see that clear break, then yep, that's wonderful. We could see a push initially towards the 1.6352 zone, but then probably the slightly better one could be seen around here, around the 1.65 area. So could be a nice potential target here for this pair. But like I said, let me just quickly probably do this right here, so just for our future reference, guys. So we're gonna keep this one right here just to show what we are talking about. And this is in terms of the downside. This is the break that we need, that we will after which we'll consider further decline here. Initially, then we could target the area around here, the 1.6121, but slightly probably better one could be seen around here. This drop here below the 1.6221 could also would also place the rate below the 200 EMA, and this could be, like I said, seen as a bit of a bearish signal. So this is our game plan here for the Euro Aussie. For now, like I said, that's what we're going to be looking at. Again, if you see one of the breaks, don't forget to have your stop loss in place, guys, just in case we get a false breakout, and we have seen these in the past. So don't kind of really try to fool around with this one too much. So that's why, guys, be very careful. USD CAD. USD-CAD, quite an interesting one. I talked about this one previously, and still the game plan remains the same. This is just a quick update, and yep, so USD-CAD basically for us is still somewhat neutral here, and we are keeping a close eye on these two potential breakout levels, and this basically this kind of range here, the big range that we've got, and that's roughly between the 1.3238 on the downside and the 1.3310 on the upside. So we need to see a clear breakthrough one of these levels before we could examine a move in the direction of the break. So for now, like I said, guys, we are going to remain neutral and also going to keep an eye on this one. It's quite interesting one, probably on the shorter time frame, and let's say on the 1 hour chart, what you could keep an eye on here is, of course, this little kind of triangle formation here. Let me just quickly put this one on the chart. So roughly something like this. I mean, this is a very, very short term kind of, and a bit of a tentative kind of idea, or so can I call it like that? I hope so. But again, it's not really something that you could focus on right now a lot, because still these are the two levels that we need, the highlighted ones, and only then we will consider a further move, or just in any case in any more interesting move. So for now, like I said, guys, keep your eyes on those two levels. And the last pair for this session is going to be USDCHF. So quick mentioning about this. I talked a lot about this pair last week, and basically I keep talking about this rising channel formation. Yes, we are kind of continuing to move nicely within that range here, this rising range, I can call it like that. But in terms of the levels, now this 0.9907 area is acting as a nice area of support. Yes, we did have a lot of breaks here, and look at all these 4-hour candles. We did have a lot of breaks here below that level, but neither of the 4-hour candles was able to close below this. So in a way, what you could do here again is keep an eye, continue monitoring this level. If we see another drop below this, yes, it could be another false breakout. That's why you need to have your stop losses in place. And but if this eventually we get a close of a 4-hour candle below this level, below the 0.9907, this is where it could become a little bit more interesting, as we could consider a further move towards the 0.9886 zone, or even this lower side of the rising channel. This is where it could become a little bit more interesting, because if it holds again, we could see this one curving up and pushing back to the upside. But if it starts breaking, if we see this break here and a drop below the 0.9848, now this is where it could turn out to be ugly for USDCHF, and we could see further declines here. So for now, guys, long story short, basically keep an eye on the 0.9907. If we get a nice 4-hour close below this, then yep, we will consider a possible slide towards this lower side of the rising channel. In terms of the upside, well, again, yes, we do have this level here, which is the could be quite an interesting one, because if we get a push above the 0.9975, 76 zone here, then yes, we may see a further move higher, maybe towards the upper bound of the rising channel, and then we would take it from there. But again, in terms of the upside, probably from the more short-term perspective, and let's say something for today, we could keep an eye on this little territory right here near the 0.9936. So something kind of like this, as a break above this, could in a way do the trick here for the buyers, and we could see this one rising higher a little bit here, and then we would take it from there, see how it performs, and then yeah, if it wants to travel further north, then yep, that's good news. But again, for now, guys, we're leaning more towards the downside, but again, we're going to be very cautiously bearish because we need a confirmation break first, or ideally a confirmation close of at least a 4-hour candle, and then yep, we could consider lower areas here, or the lower side of the rising channel formation. So also, yeah, in terms of economic data today, we are relatively quiet. We do have some preliminary PMI figures coming out. So we have the German ones. I don't know if they have come out already, but check the economic calendars, guys. And we have the U.S. preliminary PMI figures as well. So and of course, the probably continue observing the whole Brexit saga, we could see some pound movements around there, because the pound for now is really driven mainly by headlines, so by Brexit headlines. So keep your eyes on this one, guys. Yep, keep your eyes on the trade talks as well. So let's see how that goes on. But for today, guys, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. If you want to join me later on at my traders tea time, as always, that's 13:15 GMT. But for now, guys, I hope you have a beautiful, like I said, beautiful trading day, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye bye.